Do you really think it makes any difference what college as far as like getting exposure to going to the next level? Do you really think it matters what college you go to, or do you think it matters more about whether or not you're able to compete at that level so you can actually get on the field?
Yeah, I think that's why college matters. You have to go to a college that you can be on the field. You can go to a Power 5 school. You can go to a top-ranked school. If you don't play, you're never going to get seen. So the truth of the matter is, if you have big league stuff and you are capable of being a big league pitcher, they'll find you regardless of where you are. Even if you don't get drafted, you can go put a video up online nowadays. If you're throwing 99 with good metrics and a good breaking ball and throwing strikes in the video, someone will give you a tryout. Someone will send a scout out to see you. It might not be the most elegant way there, but if the goal is to be a big leaguer, then your focus should be on developing the tools and the skill sets needed to be a big leaguer. And that part of it is
Game to
playing.
pitch. Yeah, actually being on the mound. Yeah.
Part of it is training. You can do a lot in the off season. You can develop tools in the gym. You can develop strength and velocity. You can develop command in a game set or in a bullpen setting. But at some point, the game is played on the field, and you have to get out there and test whether
the game is the test.
Yeah,
you got to pass the test.
Yeah. So
you can't dodge the test.
Yeah, do yourself a favor, and if you're concerned about this question, go pick any big league roster. Pick any random big league roster. Pick one of the 30 teams, and look up and research what school each of their players went to. And you're going to find a lot of guys that didn't go to school. They didn't go to college. They went right out of high school. You're going to find a lot of guys that didn't go to school because they're drafted from Dominican or Venezuela. They're Mexico, wherever.
Yes.
You're going to find a lot of guys that went to really good schools, the UCLAs, the Vanderbilts, the LSUs, stuff like that. You're also going to find a lot of guys that went to junior college, D2s, maybe didn't play a whole lot. I mean, Jacob deGrom didn't play a whole lot in college, and he didn't go to a school that you would consider a huge powerhouse baseball school. And
he went to Kluber's school.
Was it Stetson?
Stenson, yeah, I think so.
And now you look at what Jacob deGrom's able to do in the big leagues. So it doesn't really matter what school you go to. What matters is the skill set that you're able to develop, and being on the field and competing and playing and having those tests where you can figure out what does and doesn't work is a super important part of that process. So my advice would be to go to a school that you're going to be able to play a lot and compete and have those tests and learn and develop the skill set. If the goal is to go on and play, and if the goal is just to get to college and play on a team that has a chance to win a College World Series, and there's no real desire to play afterwards or whatever, then by all means go, be a walk-on at a big school. There's a lot to be said for that too. No one's disparaging that route, but yeah, if you're looking to play after college, it's about getting on the field and being able to compete at that level and use that as a way to springboard yourself developmentally.
And I think actually, because when I talk with guys, I'm not going to say you should underreach in the sense of, but you definitely don't want to overreach.
Yeah.
Because all overreaching does for you is it gets you sitting on the bench. And that just doesn't do you a lot of good.
Yeah, there's something to be said for underreaching too, going to a school where you're a little bit better talent-wise than the level of that school.
So you're the man.
You're the man there, so there's a lot of confidence. There's a lot more leeway for you to do your own training and to do your things developmentally that you need to do.
Correct.
You can take some more chances in games and say, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. You can expedite the learning curve because you don't necessarily have to be at 100% every time to be successful and be good for the team. So there's a lot of flexibility there. It's something that we did actually growing up, not in school, but before that. We would choose to play in the more developmental league sometimes as opposed to the top competition league when I was a 10-year-old or 12-year-old or however old I was.
Because as a first-year player in the 2-year window that you were in, like Bronco, Pony, whatever, because you played pony baseball.
Yeah.
The first year you're in there, you're competing against guys older than you, so to get to the mound's pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
But if the first year you go in, you play on the developmental side, the fact is that you will get pitching time.
Yeah.
And you'll be a lot better the second year that you go to pitch in the more competitive side because you have a year of pitching behind you.
Yeah.
Probably the best thing we did for you.
Yeah, it was a really big thing, and it was actually something we discussed when I was coming out of high school. It's very clear. Yeah, it's very clear that I can be a Division I pitcher after my junior year of high school. But we consider graduating high school early, half a year, and going to a junior college and pitching for a year and just working on development, or sitting out for my senior season and just using that time to develop and then going to a school in the fall if we couldn't find someone to take me early. Now, fortunately, Coach Savage at UCLA
Yes, Savage!
was willing to bring me on and in January, and then my college career played out how it did. But we were thinking about that before that became a reality of, do we go to a junior college and just use it as developmental time? Do we go and just sit out for 6 months and just train and work and get better? Because that's always the view that we've taken, is if you have the skill set to be a big leaguer, at some point you will be a big leaguer.
Yep.
And it proves out. If you go, like I said, look at the rosters of these big league teams and look at what schools these players went to. You're not going to find nearly as many Vanderbilt, UCLA, Oregon State, LSU, North Carolinas as you might think.
Yeah, it's true. I think it goes back to the same old thing too, where you talk about whether or not you're looking for what the kid is good for the kid, or what's good for the way people view things, right? So if I'm the dad and they're telling me that my kid could go to Vanderbilt,
right,
it's obviously a lot more impressive than if I say, well, he's going to go to Podunk U Junior College of Tuscaloosa, Mexico, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? And it's hard to make the choice to go to the junior college when you know there's a possibility that maybe he goes to Vanderbilt. But if you really look at Vanderbilt and evaluate it honestly, you may find out that there's just no chance that you end up pitching at Vanderbilt, right? Because you're like 10 deep in on the pitching rotation, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you aren't a great pitcher.
Right.
You can be a great pitcher at a school like that, and guess what?
Yeah.
You never get on the mound.
Yeah.
Because they have serious studs. I mean, those are serious studs, right? But you go off to the junior college and you're going to be the man, and you're going to pitch, and you're going to learn experientially what works and doesn't work on the mound and stuff.
I think another really important thing is to find a coach that you vibe with.
Yeah.
So if you're a guy that doesn't do your own training and stuff, you just find a coach, you're like, oh, okay, I like how this guy communicates. I think this guy's going to treat me fairly. I think he has good information. I'll come here for the coach.
And you can bring me along.
Right.
Right.
Or if you're a guy like I was that had my own training program, I needed someone that was going to just
leave you
let
alone.
me do my thing.
Yep.
Like, don't try to change me. If you just let me figure it out, I'll be fine. I'll be productive for you. So the difference in your training style and what's going to help you develop to get to the next level is super important too, that the coach is going to fit with that the program is going to fit with that.
And how that works a lot is that if you undersell, then when you go to the school, you're going to perform at a high enough level that the coaches will say, you know what, I'm not going to screw with him because he obviously is the best pitcher on my staff.
Yep.
So you have more freedom to do the kind of training you need to do.
Right.
Whereas if you oversell and you try to get on a staff that's a bunch of studs and you try to do your own thing, all you're going to hear is, wait a minute, you know, you're here at this program, you do what we do. That's the way it works here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was the best pitcher in UCLA baseball history if you look at the statistical, the career as a whole, and I'm the only pitcher there to win the Golden Spikes and stuff like that. So even in my case, like, I got that for my entire time there. Well, you don't train like us, and you're not part of the team, and this, that, and the other. So even being the most successful pitcher in the history of the program, I was still getting that from teammates and other people. So that's a big point. The freedom to be able to do what you do and not get extra added grief about it is important for confidence, for teammate interactions, teamwork, but also just for the enjoyment of your time in college, because college baseball is by far the most fun that you'll have playing baseball.
There's nothing more fun than college baseball. That's the ultimate thing.
The only thing that comes close to comparing to it is playoff baseball in the big leagues, but the vast majority of players never get the chance to play in the postseason or have an extended run where you get a month of pure enjoyment. In college, you get 4 months of pure enjoyment for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So
It's just the way the college game is structured.
Yeah. So it's important to find a fit where you know, if you just look at life experience in general, even take baseball out of it, just look at life experience. You want to be able to enjoy your time and look back and have great memories of interacting with your teammates, playing baseball, the game that you love, the locker room stuff, the road trips, all the things that go into it, because those are memories you'll have forever. And if you're at a school where you're getting grief from your teammates, you're not really involved in the culture because they think you're different or they train weird, or they kick you out, you're not really on the field, so you don't feel like you're a part of it. And you know, it's tough to look back on that and have great memories. So
and I think I think that's a real for parents as well as their kids, because kids at that age still, even they rely on their parents a lot for decision making. They have a lot of input, but at the same time they rely a lot on their parents. And I think that's one of the things that it's really easy to get caught up in the, like, oh, my kid's gonna blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes developmentally it just doesn't work, because even if you go to a school like Trevor was saying where you are the man and everything, guaranteed if you're different enough, you're still going to have the wheels aren't going to mesh. So they'll give you some freedom to do what you want to do, but you're going to have to do enough of what they do that you're not a total outsider. You just get more leverage at a school where you're the man than you do where you're the 10th guy on the staff, right?
No
So
doubt.
it doesn't buy you everything, but it just buys you a whole heck of a lot more.